Hi everyone, I'm Cody W3AMG with BridgeCom Systems, and today we're going to be showing you how to connect your AnyTone handheld radio up to a local repeater without really any prior knowledge or experience. So before we get started, let's do a few shout outs here real quick. Let's see, who do we have in the house today? Let's see, Brian KO4TEI from Jacksonville, Florida. Good morning. Thank you. We have Rodney, WG4USA. Good morning, Rodney. Tim, AI7. Oh, jumped off the screen there. Paul, WB0BBC. Good morning, Paul. Dalton, KO4. Oh. Let's see. Steve, N5BZM. Good morning, Steve. Ed, KJ7DHY. Tim, K0 or KO4BTN. Bill, N8CQD. Rick, N1TEK. Good morning, Rick. Thomas, WA4BKL. Awesome, so thank you all for attending. It certainly wouldn't be possible without you guys. This is probably one of the best ways you can learn about amateur radio and specifically DMR and how to get your radio set up. If you know anyone who needs help with this or just getting into it, they want to learn more about it, send them this way every week at 11 a.m. Central Time. Now, I do want to let you guys know about a couple of really cool things that are going on right now before we get started. So we actually have a brand new the Operator's Accessory Bundle. It's going on right now for a limited time. You actually get 25% off of that. So it's basically all of the most popular accessories for your radio. Most people end up buying these at some point in time. And with this, you're just taking $50 off of that up front. So you have some big savings. So with that bundle, you get the mobile charging kit, so you can actually charge your radio in your car. Then you'll get an extra battery and belt clip. Which allows you to, you take your battery on the go and just swap out that battery for a new one whenever it runs out. You'll get a Nagoya high gain 8-inch antenna and then a BCS 200 water resistant speaker mic. Those are always great to have around. The AnyTone protective case, so it's just a case that goes around the radio, keep it safe. And then the battery eliminator, so that allows you to plug it in your car and actually run it off the car's power. Now, it doesn't charge it, but that's what you have the mobile charging kit for. But that's great for long road trips. And finally, that also includes the Super Code plug. So it's a great offer. Normally $200, you can get it for $150 right now. Give us a call, 816-532-8451, and press 2, and we will help you get set up with that, with or without your radio. And then also, for all of you guys on the stream here today, you do have to be present to win, but we're going to be giving away a brand new 878 Plus radio to one of you guys. So make sure you enter that giveaway. There's a link in the description, and we'll draw the winner live here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I've got my radio here. Let's turn it on. Now I've completely reinitialized this, so it's going to be just like you would receive it. Now, because we're going to be using a local repeater, I have this antenna adapter here. Get a little bit better reception in the studio here. So we'll go ahead and click confirm. Power that up, and then I've got my computer over here. So I'm going to take my programming cable and plug the cable into the radio and then into the computer. We'll plug the cable in the radio here real quick. Okay, perfect. So the radio is on. We've got the cable plugged in. So that's a good start. Now we need to jump over here to the computer and go get some information. So I've already downloaded the programming software, which we have here. Now if you don't have that, just open up a web browser and go to bridgecomsystems.com and then click on support. Okay, perfect. So from here, you would want to scroll down until you find the radio that is the same as yours. So we have an 878 UV2 Plus. So here we go, perfect. There is the CPS for it. and then just download the current version and install it. And we have some more in-depth how-tos on how to do that if you get hung up with that process, but it's pretty straightforward. So we're going to open up the software here real quick. Now, the first thing we want to do is we always want to read from the radio. So I've got the radio turned on and plugged in. Now, if we don't read from the radio, oftentimes what will happen is we'll build our nice code plug with all the repeaters we want in it, and then try to import it to the radio, and we get a band error. That's why you always want to read from it first. That way you don't ever waste any time. So go ahead and click on that COM port icon up top, and then just select the COM3 or whatever yours populates with. Now, if there's multiple there, probably the best way to do this is just unplug your radio and then watch this, and when you plug it back in, you'll see which one pops up, and that's the one that's your radio. Then click the button to the left of that up here that says Read from Radio, and then OK. And all we need to do is read the other data in this case. Great, there we go. So we're set to start modifying our template here. But before we do that, we need to actually go find out the information so we can connect to our repeater. So let's go open up another web browser. Now, you can get this information a variety of different ways. If you are in a local club and they have the repeater information, you can probably get it there. If you don't know what you have in your area, then what we're about to do is probably one of the best ways to find out. So go to repeaterbook.com. It's the resource we're going to be using here today. It allows you to find repeaters pretty much all over the world. So we're going to narrow it down by our location. So North American repeaters. Awesome, and then you can just select your location. We're going to do DMR because that's what we have, a DMR radio. And then here we can see all of the DMR repeaters within our state. Now, if you want to filter it down even more, you can, but I'm just going to do a Control F and search for the repeater that I'm looking for here in Kansas City. So it's actually, they moved up north. It's a few miles up north of here in the next town up. So we'll go ahead and click on the frequency. Now at this point, it's a good idea to get yourself some pen and paper or something to write down this information with. For those of you who are, once you get to this page of your repeater, we have to be able to gather this information. So I've already written it down, but I'll explain what we need to get. So downlink, the downlink frequency, we're going to need that. We'll need the uplink. We'll need the color code, and then most of the time you want to find out the time slot as well. So we can see here they say in the notes, use time slot 1 for all other Brandmeister talkers. So that's what we want. So we know we need time slot 1, and we need color code 4, and we have our frequencies here. But what are uplink and downlink frequencies? So the best way I like to think of it is, uplink is going from your radio up to the repeater, and downlink is going from the repeater down to the radio. Typically repeaters are up high, they're on a tower, and radios typically are individuals like us on the ground. So regardless, it can be different. Transmit and receive are going to be different whether you're talking about a radio or a repeater, whereas uplink and downlink work no matter what. So we've got those written down. Now we need to get our personal information. So if you have your call sign, which you should, but if you don't, it's pretty simple to get one. Just have to do a little bit of studying and then take the test. We want to go to radioid.net to find out what our digital DMR ID is. Now, the DMR ID, if you don't have one of them, is pretty simple to get as long as you have a valid amateur radio license. They'll pretty much give one to you. So we're going to go here and then go to database. And at this point, go to user ID search and then type in your call sign. Now, if you don't have one, you would just basically create one with this website, and then they'll send it to you as soon as they make it. So W3AMG, we'll put in our call sign here. Awesome, there we go. So you can see what my radio ID is, so we'll keep that. And then that's pretty much it. There's one more thing we want, or a couple more things. So I want to search for Brandmeister talk groups. And I typically use this website here, the pistar.uk. But there's a lot of different places you can get talk groups from. So from here, we can see the entire list of most of the different talk groups out there. There might be a few that's not included, but it has most of the popular talk groups. And from this, if I want to search for a state, for example, I could do a Control F and search for Missouri, right? So there's our Missouri talk group. So I'm going to write that one down, record it. And what about the disconnect? There we go, talk group 4000. We are going to need this. For DMR repeaters, you definitely want to have the disconnect talk group. And then another one I would highly recommend is the parrot. So the parrot talk group, we've got that there. And then worldwide is also a lot of fun. So there's worldwide talk group 91. So I've got all this information now. Now there's one final thing that is not essential to get on the air, but is definitely going to improve your experience, which is our actual list of all of the contacts out there, our digital radio ID list. Now this will go into this radio. The cool thing about this radio is it will actually hold the entire list. It's got a 500,000 digital contact list capacity. A lot of other radios out there only have like a 200,000 capacity or maybe 100,000. This will hold literally the entire list, and it's got enough room that we should be set for a few more years on this. It's going to last you a long time instead of having to immediately upgrade. So let's go to, there's a few different places you can download that list, but the website I typically use is kf5iw.com, and they actually make a list that's specific to the AnyTone radio, so it's pretty easy to set up. So we're going to go here and download that list. We'll scroll down and see if we can find it. Digital contact list. Perfect, here we go. And we can see, there we go. So currently it looks like everything is at 208,409. So a lot of contacts out there. So we're going to go ahead and download that. Put that in the desktop. Just like that, awesome. So we have our contact list. So now we can start entering information into the actual CPS, or the customer programming software. So the first thing I like to do is add my personal information. So my call sign and radio ID. So to do that, we're going to go into digital, this tab here on the left. Just open up that digital tab, and then click on radio ID list at the very top. Then from here, we can add our information. So just double click on this, any of these boxes. And then we can enter our DMR ID, which is 3152688. Obviously yours is going to be different. And then my name, so I'm just going to put my first name and call sign. It's typically what I do here. And there we go, we're all set there. Now at this point, let's go ahead and add our talk groups. So here's our talk group section. Now you can either add a list, you can download a list, or you can just add individual ones like we have. Now if you really want to speed this process up, we actually offer a super code plug for $49. Or if you get the new operator accessory bundle, it's included in that. So you get that, actually it's free with that, really. So you get all 50 states, all 70, I think 78 international talk groups, and then the over 200,000 digital contact list is all included in that. So it can really speed this process up. But today we're going to do it the manual way. So let's enter a few here. Let's see, we'll do the Missouri one, and then enter the number here real quick. What's the number? So that's going to be 3129, as we found out. And then you have the option to have either a group call or a private call. Now, depending on what you're doing with this, most everything's going to be a group call, but something like the parrot is going to be a private call because you don't want everyone hearing you testing your radio. So we'll leave this as a group call. Let's make another one. Disconnect. Disconnect, to my knowledge, it doesn't really matter if it's a group call or a private call. But we'll make it a private call. And then this is going to be talk group 4000. And let's see, what else do we have here? Let's add the parrot. That's going to be a private call. And then the ID for that one is 9990. Awesome. And then finally, let's add another one. This one is worldwide, also going to be a group call. So that we'll put a name in here. And the number, which for this one is 91. Awesome, so we have some talk groups to work with, but how do we make them into channels on the radio? So go up here to your channel section. And actually, before we do that, I'll show you how to import the digital contact list real quick. You would just go to digital contact list, which is here. Well, that's where you would view it. So if you want to import it, you would actually go to Tool, and then Import, and then Digital Contact List. And then we would basically import the file that we had just downloaded. So you go to your desktop, and I believe that was in a zip file, so we would have to extract that first. So I can show you how to do that here real quick. We'll go back to our desktop and just right click on this file we downloaded and extract all. Perfect, so now we have the file there. So if we went back to the software, we could go to Tool, Import, and then Digital Contact List on the left, and then go to our desktop, and now we can import this file. Now you just click open and then import down there at the bottom. Now I'm not actually going to do this today because it does take quite a bit of extra time to transfer over to the radio, but it's really easy, and that's how you would do it. So let's go ahead and go up here to the channel, because we still do need to make our channels. So I'm going to get rid of some of these because we don't need all of these basic ones that came with the radio. Do this real quick. And that way we can just copy and paste our new creations over. So let's start with this one. Just double click on it to open it up. And then from here, we have our receive and transmit frequency. Now keep in mind, this is going to be in the eyes of the radio. So we know from our uplink and downlink that the downlink is going to be the receive frequency. So downlink is 444.4625. And then the transmit frequency is 449.4625. And this is a digital frequency, obviously, because we're wanting to use DMR. I'm going to leave the transmit power set to turbo just because that repeater is a little ways away, and especially in the studio here. I do have it hooked up to a bigger mobile antenna, which is just back there, but it still may be difficult to hit the repeater, but I think we should be set there. And then, let's see, we'll give it a name. So this is Missouri, so we'll give this one Missouri. And there's one more thing we need to verify. Over here on this side, we have our DMR mode. You want to make sure that's set to repeater, because if it's not, this is not going to work. So we have that correct. Over here, this is where you select your contact. So you would select that and then double click on the one you want. So we want Missouri. And then color code, we know we need color code 4. Time slot 1, that's correct, time slot 1. And that's all we need to change here. So just click OK. Now what we can do is just right click on this and copy. And then just move down and Control V. We'll just paste new ones of these here. And that just transfers all of that information. And then we just need to go back and change the name and the contact. So let's do that real quick. So here, let's make this one the worldwide. Worldwide, there we go. And this one, we can make it the parrot. then finally, I believe we have the disconnect. Make that disconnect. Awesome, there we go. So we're all set there. We have all of those channels in here. But if we just imported these to the radio right now, we still wouldn't actually be able to see them. One more thing we need to do, go to Zone, and underneath Zone, you can either create a new zone or just double click on this one. So I'm going to leave this here and just make sure all of these are added over to a zone. If it's not in a zone, you're not going to be able to find it. And now what zones do, they basically organize your channels. So I like to think of them as folders. So I can have, let's say I wanted this repeater all to be in one zone, and then I had a repeater down south at my friend's house. I could have all of those in a zone. And let's say I also have a zone for my weather channels, and then a zone for maybe some simplex frequencies. You can just organize your channels this way. That's really what they're used for. So we'll give it a name. Perfect. Just like that. So we're set there. Now, at this point, we just want to customize a couple more settings to make this work properly. So go to your optional settings, and then we're going to go to work mode. Now this display mode is very important because we named everything, but if we don't change this, we're actually not going to see those names. So we want to change this from frequency to channel because technically, since we're talking to the same repeater, all the frequencies are going to be the same. So if we don't change this over, we're not actually going to see anything. So change that to channel, and then sub-channel mode, personal preference for me, I like to turn that off, so I'm going to do so. That just basically eliminates the second option here. I think we have it off on this one too, but that way it's just a little bit less confusing. But if you use the sub-channel a lot, you might want to keep it on. Let's do a few more things here. Power on, if you click on that, that allows you to actually display a custom message. So you can either have a custom message when you turn it on, or you can have your own image. So we're just going to do a basic message here. So we'll put my name and call sign. There we go. Perfect. And then I'm going to go over to display and change the standby background picture to custom one, just like that. And then if I go up here to tool and then standby BK picture one, now I can actually add an image to use as the background. And the radio actually comes with some images you can use in the software when you download that software. So we're going to open one of them. So on our desktop, there's one that will work. So we'll open that picture and then just click Write to Radio. And that's going to add that image. Now at this point, I believe we are pretty much all set here. So we've added everything we need. So at this point, you just want to make sure your radio is still plugged in and turned on, which it looks like it's still booting up there. So we'll wait for it to show up in the COM port section. There we go, there it is. So click OK. And then we're going to click the button to the right of that, which says Write to Radio. And if you were actually importing the digital contact list, you would want to make sure to hit the digital contact list button. But today, just to save time, we're not going to do that. And there we are. So let's take a look at the radio here. Looks like it's going to power back on. We can unplug it. There we go. How cool is that? So now we have our custom screen here. And you can see our custom background picture too. Now you can actually customize the color of the text too. Like that's a little bit hard to see the white text on that screen. So we could change that color as well. But we'll get into that in a different video. But let's go ahead and you basically turn this channel knob to go through the different channels. And then if you have multiple zones, you would use the up and down buttons to switch between those zones. But we just have one. Now, we'll do this real quick. It has a really short timeout. That can be a little bit frustrating. So if we go into menu we can go down to settings, and then let's go to radio set and display func, and then just change the light time, that option number 2, and we'll just increase that up to 45 minutes, let's say. Now we don't have to worry about that screen timing out on us. Perfect, so it'll stay on now. Let's go ahead and try out the Parrot, see if we've made it work successfully. So we'll change over to the Parrot. There we go. Perfect. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is W3AMG trying out the Parrot on my newly programmed radio. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is W3AMG trying out the Parrot on my newly programmed radio. There we go. Awesome. How cool is that? So we just got it to work successfully. We've tried out the Parrot. Let's see if we can talk to someone on a talk group. I'm going to try out the Missouri talk group here real quick. This is Cody W3AMG. Just seeing if there's anyone active on the Missouri talk group this morning.
This is KO4OTH.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for coming back, KF4OTH. What's your name? Where are you from today?
My name is Justice, and I'm located in North Carolina, and I'm watching your live stream right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. I think he said his name was Joseph. It broke up a little bit there. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming back to me, Joseph. I believe that's what you said your name was. Yeah, what kind of radio are you running? It sounds good.
I'm running the AnyTone 878 UV2 Plus and the Skybridge Plus.
Oh, there we go. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Good to hear it. Yeah, I'm currently on the same radio there, the 878 UV2 Plus, and I'm going through my local repeater here in Smithville, so, or a little bit north in Trimble, Missouri. I think they moved it recently. So awesome. Well, thanks for coming back to me. This is Cody W3AMG. Clear on your final.
Yeah, no problem. I actually was the winner of the Hot Summer Nights giveaway, so thank you all for that, and keep up the videos. I really like them and enjoy them. KO4OTH73.
Awesome. How cool is that? So we were just able to talk. It looks like one of you guys was on there, so that is awesome. Pretty neat. So these radios are a lot of fun. There's always get to meet someone interesting out there. Always someone to talk to, which is awesome. So there we go. We've successfully got the radio to talk to the local repeater here, and you can do the same. So if you have a local repeater in your area, this will work great for you. Now, if you don't, we actually have this Skybridge Plus hotspot here. Now, what this will do is allow you to basically bypass the need for a repeater and access your own personal repeater. So you can use this to talk to any of the talk groups just right from your home, or even on the go. You can pair it up to like a cell phone hotspot and use this on the go as well. So I know a lot of people like to use that if they don't have good access to a local repeater. So just want to remind you guys, we do have the operator's accessory bundle right now going on. The sale on that, you actually save 25% on your accessories. So if you have your radio, or if you're going to get a radio, this is the time to do it, because you can get all those accessories for a lot less money, and keep that money in your pocket. So make sure you take advantage of that if you want some of those awesome accessories. And then for those of you in the stream, we're going to draw the winner soon for the giveaway. We're actually giving away one of these live on the stream, an 878 Plus. And for the rest of you guys, we actually have the autumn sale going on. It's going on until Friday. I believe that's the 8th. So make sure you take advantage of that. If you purchase one of these radios, 878 Plus, UV2, any of the AnyTone handhelds or plug and plays, you'll actually get a free super code plug and a free speaker mic with your radio. So over an $80 value on that. And then if you purchase the bigger 578 mobile radio, you'll get that same super code plug, and then you'll also get half off of the tri-band antenna. So $100 savings there. So let's see if we have any questions.
Off the bat, people are wondering if we ship to the UK.
That's a good question. So absolutely, we will ship to the UK. Just whatever the shipping costs, you know, you're welcome to pay for that shipping, but we'll ship to the UK. We'll ship anywhere, absolutely.
If you were using a simplex hotspot, do you still need to have it in repeater mode?
Great question. So if you're using a simplex hotspot, you do not need to have it in repeater mode. You can have it in simplex. Now, it's not actually going to hurt anything to have it in repeater mode, so typically my code plugs, just everything's in that mode, but you do not.
When I look on the Brandmeister site, I notice my local repeater says that slots 1 and 2 are linked. Does this mean that I can select either time slot when programming?
So that's going to depend on your repeater. So this repeater requests that we just use time slot 1 for all of this activity. Excuse me, and I believe they use time slot 2 for other purposes. So that's just going to depend on your local repeater because they may have preference on that, whoever runs it.
Can I listen to one talk group and transmit on another talk group?
I believe you can. So with the 578 mobile, you definitely could do that. You could have it set up to listen to, it's actually got 2 receivers. Now with these, there may be a way to do that. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think you can listen to one and talk on the other at the same time, but it may be possible. If one of you guys know that, that'd be good to hear. I'd love to find that out. And we could certainly find that out for sure for you. Just give us a call, 816-532-8451, and I'm sure one of our tech guys would know the answer to that.
Can you explain it again, the difference between a channel, zone, and talk group?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's try to simplify this here. So the channel is literally what you think of. It's a channel, just like if you had a basic walkie-talkie, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, through however many channels, 42 channels. So that's just your channel. We can all understand that. And then the talk group is just something in digital. It's a digital terminology. Now, for these radios, basically what we're doing is creating a new channel for each talk group. So really, channel and talk group, they're different, but for the end use of the radio, when you're actually using it, changing your channel is going to be changing your talk group. And then for your zones, zones are basically an organization structure. So instead of having, let's say if you have 200 channels, just having them all in the same location, so you just have to cycle through, you can have them split up into different folders, if you will, or different zones. That way you can have different sections for different types of purposes. Like I could have my local repeaters in this area, but let's say I travel a lot, I can then have the local stuff in a different state, programmed in a different zone. That way I can keep everything separate. Hopefully that makes sense.
Can you briefly explain code plugs and what they are and what they do?
Sure, absolutely. So a code plug is basically just a glorified way of naming what the information in your radio. So all of the channels, zones, just all the information or programming in the radio is the code plug. So it's just a file. A code plug is a file that consists of all the data that your radio uses to know what to talk to.
And can you explain a color code and what they are?
So a color code, probably the easiest way to think of it, is just the digital version of like a CTCSS tone or a PL tone that we're used to with analog repeaters. That's pretty much what they do.
Are these all DMR or analog radios?
So these radios actually do both. So they're DMR, but they can also operate on analog frequencies too. So you're not limited. You can do, have all that programmed in the same zone, analog and digital frequencies.
Are these Echolink capable?
Echolink. I'm not super familiar with Echolink myself. It is possible that you may be able to cross them over to Echolink somehow. They're natively just DMR, but if there's some sort of crossover, it may be possible. If one of you guys knows that, let us know in the chat, and then certainly you're welcome to call, and we'll get you that information for sure.
I've heard that you can send a text message through the radio to a cell phone number. If that's true, how do you do this?
Sure, absolutely. So it is actually possible. In fact, I believe we actually did this on a stream before. So you're welcome to go watch that video we did. But you can definitely do that. You can stream. You can actually send a message from your radio through, I believe it goes through the DMR network, to an actual cell phone number. It is pretty neat.
Why is the disconnect necessary? When should it be used? And do you have to use it for repeaters?
Great question. So correct, you do actually need to use it for repeaters and for your SkyBridge hotspot. And we can demonstrate it here real quick. So if I go over to disconnect, there we go. So you would use it if you wanted to change talk group. So let's say I was talking on Missouri like I was, and I wanted to go talk on worldwide. I would have to hit disconnect. Otherwise, when I go over to worldwide and key up, I'm still going to be on the Missouri talk group. So just simply select it and then key it up just for a second.
Not linked.
And you'll hear the message. It's going to say not linked. That means it was successful in disconnecting you. Now, for repeaters, that's always going to work. Now, if you're on a simplex hotspot, you actually have to wait until there's no activity. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to successfully disconnect. So on really busy talk groups like worldwide and TAC 310, sometimes it can actually be difficult to disconnect from them.
If a repeater isn't local, can you put the repeater's DMR ID as a talk group and connect that way?
I don't believe so. Typically with the, I see what you're trying to do here. I just had to wrap my head around it. So actually, if the repeater's not local but it's on DMR, if you guys get on the same talk group, you can talk to it anyway. Like this Missouri repeater, any other DMR repeater, if they were on the Missouri talk group, they'd be able to hear me on this repeater. So that's the cool thing with the Brandmeister network. You can talk to anyone on any repeater or hotspot.
Could you explain private calls?
Sure, absolutely. So a couple different things that could mean if you're referring to like a private call calling someone. Actually, I think maybe 2 streams ago, we did a private call. We demonstrated that. So we had 2 people, and you can actually set up, you use their radio ID, and you put that in as a talk group. And then you can just key it up and it will talk directly to them. And there's also a way you can punch in to do a private call and actually ring their radio. So it's a neat way to be able to talk to individuals without talking to everyone. Now there's also a few different other times that was used, like on hotspots. You can either have, you're probably referring to on what we went over today with the CPS, the private call versus in the talk group. Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. I'll explain that again. I think I understand what your question is. So if we go to talk groups, so I assume you're talking about these here, group call and private call. So group call is going to be for everyone. So group call is everyone. Typically, everything's going to be group call, all your talk groups. Now, private call means that only you are going to be able to hear it. So that's for like the parrot. Obviously, we don't want everyone to hear our parrot transmission. We just want us to hear it. That's basically what those do.
Can I talk to a local analog repeater by inputting the frequency via the keyboard?
You can, absolutely. So it's real simple. You would just punch in your frequency, or you could go to, probably you press this P2 button and switch over to VFO. So you could punch in your frequency here and then go down to settings, channel set, and then you could select the rest of the information like the channel type, analog, right? And then you back out, you could select your tone. So we can put a CTCSS tone, right? Put that in there. And then if they have that, and then you would select your transmit power and the receive and transmit frequency. Absolutely.
Can you use a hotspot to access local repeaters?
You can. So it's not going to access like local analog repeaters, but for digital, if it's on the DMR network, your hotspot is going to connect you to the network just like a local repeater would. So the repeater we just talked to on DMR, I could do the exact same thing right here with one of these SkyBridge Plus hotspots. Absolutely.
Can you make a private group call with several users?
So unfortunately with the network, the way it's set up, I'm not aware of a way to do this currently. I know there have been some people have made talk groups for certain like organizations, so it may be possible. I don't know if your club could potentially make a talk group. We've never applied to try to do that, but I have heard of people doing that. But as for just setting up a group of private DMR users, I'm not aware of a way to do that at the moment. But if any of you guys know how, I'd love to learn.
Can you explain the difference between an amateur and a professional or commercial radio?
Sure, absolutely. So these radios we sell them primarily in the amateur version, but they are technically Part 90 certified. So we actually have another version of it as well, the commercial one. Same price, same features. It just locks out the VFO so you couldn't punch in frequencies, and then it also allows you to transmit on commercial frequencies. So for those of you who are commercial users or potentially both, you have a commercial application but also want to use your radio for amateur stuff on the side when you're not at work or something like that, and they allow that, then this is a great option for that. Just make sure you select the commercial one. But amateur is basically locks out the commercial frequencies, being able to transmit on them. You can still listen to them, but you can't transmit, whereas the commercial version, Part 90 accepted radios, they can transmit and receive on those, including amateur frequencies, but you can't actually program frequencies from the front panel.
All right, it looks like we have a winner for today's giveaway.
Awesome. So we have a winner for today's giveaway. So before we announce that, make sure you guys stick around until he says he's here, because if the winner is not here, we will draw another one. So we'll go ahead and do that. Beforehand, just to let you guys know, we do have a special running on this brand new Operator's Accessory Bundle. 25% off of that, so you're actually saving $50 on that. Instead of being $200, it's only $150, and those are the accessories that you would probably end up buying anyway for your radio. So it's a great time to do it. And also the autumn sale, it's running until October 8th. That's Friday. So make sure you take advantage of that while supplies last. You can get yourself a radio and save yourself $80. You'll get the free Super Code plug and the speaker mic for free, and a 578 mobile radio and save yourself $100. You'll get a free Super Code plug and 50% off the tri-band antenna. So some great deals for you. Make sure you take advantage of that. 816-532-8451. Let's see who the winner is.
I do apologize with this name, but Mike Bowick, call sign KF0GNV.
KF0GNV. Are you in the house, Mike? Awesome. So if Mike is here, he has just won himself a brand new 878 Plus radio. Let's find out.
While we wait, will the SkyBridge work on Fusion or only DMR?
So the SkyBridge will actually work on both DMR and Fusion. Absolutely. In fact, it can cross mode between them, so you can use your DMR radio to talk to Fusion as well.
Mike is here.
Awesome. Mike is in the house, so congratulations to you. You have just won yourself a brand new 878 Plus radio. So awesome. That's great. Thank you everyone for attending. These live streams are a great way for everyone to learn more about the radios, how to use them, and to help beginners get set up with it. So if you like it, be sure to share it with your friends, like the video, and send more people this way. 11 a.m. Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time every single week. We'll be here helping you with amateur radio, and that's what it's all about. So that's it for now. Thank you all for attending. I'm Cody W3AMG 73.